Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are you today? Doing good? Got your coffee and your sugar and you're all ready to go for the rest of the morning, I hope? All right. Well, thank you for coming. My name is Roger Lee. I think on the agenda, it showed Brett Paulson and Anthony Scodary as the presenters. So they decided to put in the second quarterback number 2 to do this event. I'm kidding. Brett unfortunately wasn't able to make it, but he is going to be, as we go through this presentation, and I'll have the opportunity to show you a demo of our solution to kind of put it in context, but also connect the dots as I go through this presentation. Brett is going to be my agent as we go through this conversation, so he's actually in our LA office. And so as we go through the demo, he will be Agent Brett as we go through this. And then Anthony Scodary, for those of you who were at the keynote yesterday, Anthony did a 15-minute presentation regarding human-to-human conversations, specifically introduced Grace. And Grace is our voice bot, which you probably got to saw his video. So Anthony is here in the room as well with us, along with a few other esteemed colleagues. So thank you for taking the time. Again, my name is Roger Lee. I've been with GridSpace since last year of October. Time has flown. And I wanted just to give you a quick overview of who I am to kind of put things in context. So I've been in the contact center customer experience space for about 20 years. I actually ran contact centers for a good 10 of those years, small to large, anywhere from 100 to 1,000 agents within those organizations. So then I had the opportunity, which people kind of crack up, why would you leave the contact center and go to the dark side? So I decided to join the dark side of the world, or I will now call the good side, which is the vendor side of the world, to talk about the various solutions, in particular speech analytics. And speech analytics to me, as we go through this, for many of you that are either using speech analytics in your environments today or are using something very similar to that, not all speech analytics platforms are one and the same. And so I think that's an important part to understand as you go through this next couple of days, that even though we all may say we provide analytics, there are definitely nuances and differentiators among those solutions. But I've had the opportunity to work both as a vendor and an end user of a lot of the applications, so I'm very excited. Today, what we're going to talk about and focus on is an application which is called Agent Assist. And let me give you some context around Agent Assist and what that means. So I talked a little bit about speech analytics. I want to talk a little bit, and just before I go into the Agent Assist, is that there's a human-machine partnership or relationship. And there's two parts. You saw Grace, or our voice bot yesterday, which is the human automation component. And human assist are applications that are a combination of AI along with human intervention. And so today, specifically, we're going to talk about the human assistant side of the house. And Agent Relay or Agent Assist is one of those solutions that I'll be sharing with you about. We also have some other things as well that we do is auto QA, compliance, collections, MOS score. And for those who are in quality or who run contact centers, you're always trying to find ways to expedite and improve how your agents are performing. And so for those of you that are doing call quality evaluations, auto QA is simply leveraging speech analytics to automatically score every single evaluation and every transaction that your agent has with your customer. That's to give you some context. So why does Agent Assist matter? So for many of you, how many of you here in this room today have a contact center environment that you're responsible for? Okay? Is part of your objective to improve average handle time within your contact center? Right? So what you're trying to do is find ways to leverage technology to help you understand what's happening for average handle time. And there's some stats here which I think are why it matters. Agents spend between 16 to 20% of their time seeking information to do their jobs. They also use at least 3 different systems to seek customer insights or knowledge-based articles needed to address client issues. In addition to delaying average handle times, these things affect agent productivity. So you may hear, right, happy employees equal happy customers. if your employees have to navigate multiple systems to get at information, guess what happens? Average handle time will go up, not necessarily decrease. Another study showed that voice of the customer feedback, top complaints from customers or consumers were agents aren't knowledgeable, inaccurate, inconsistent information, and service resolution isn't personalized. And that, I will tell you, is an important part of if organizations are talking about improving customer experience, you also have to improve the agent experience. They're not exclusive. So what you have to be able to do is, as you're looking at improving the agent experience, I have one organization, believe it or not, their agents have to look at 67 applications are open at their desktop to service their customers. No lie, 67 applications, legacy systems as well as new systems. And they have that many tabs open on their desktop. So as they're trying to have conversations with their consumers and their insurance organization, can you imagine if you're an agent and you're trying to find information to provide to you as the consumer? It would be a nightmare. Your average handle times will be much higher than you would like them to be, and not necessarily are you providing accurate and complete and consistent information through that interaction. So, let the numbers speak. The purpose of Agent Assist, or we call Agent Relay, is for the solution to be able to provide you or provide the agent information during the course of the conversation. So if I am calling you as a consumer and I have a question about my EOB, my explanation of benefits, and I'm an agent who's not familiar with the explanation of benefits or certain terminology on there, the solution, speech analytics, will recognize that there are certain words that are being said that you as the agent may need help on. So I'm proactively delivering information to you at your desktop so that you can talk to that information intelligibly to the consumer or the end user. So imagine if one of your metrics is measuring first contact resolution, and if I'm able to provide you accurate and complete information the first time, there won't be a callback. So part of the improvement when we look at improving average handle time, there's a reduction based on our modeling and based on our conversations and working with customers. We've seen anywhere from a 1.5% to 2% reduction in average handle time. And that average handle time really is in the hold time area and also help to expedite the talk time component. So if you look at that and you say, well, 1.5% to 2% is not a whole lot, you also have to balance out if you are an organization who touts that customer experience is very important and you're not treated as a number and the interaction needs to be personalized, then you have to balance that out with trying to hurry up and drive the call and end the call quickly to take the next call. So let me equate that with the numbers. So let's assume you're a small contact center, you have 160 agents, you're an inbound and outbound center. Your current average handle time is 300 seconds. So if I'm able to reduce 5 seconds off that average handle time or shave that off using Agent Assist, then you're down to 295 seconds. If you're handling 4 million contacts per year, you kind of do the math, you see the math below there about the average base pay along with benefits, burden rate, and all that fun stuff, you're looking at about $105,000 savings per year just by reducing your average handle time by 5 seconds. Now, that's over 160 agents. Imagine if you're a contact center with 500 or 1,000 or more. The numbers grow exponentially. The dollar savings is even higher. So the purpose of this illustration of this model is to show we all know that we deal with a diverse workforce, especially from an agent population, and as our millennials, which our favorite term we hear quite a bit, are taking over and in the contact center, or a next generation, which is the Gen Zs of the world, then we have to be able to make sure that we provide them what is necessary to take care of the customer. And a lot of times I hear organizations talk about is customer effort, customer effort. How many people today measure customer effort as one of their metrics in their organization? Does anybody measure customer effort at all? How easy is it for my customer to do business with me? Are you measuring customer effort today?
We use customer score.
Okay. A lot of organizations, I say, if you're measuring customer effort, are you also balancing the equation and measuring agent effort? How easy is the agent for you? How easy is the agent to navigate the systems that you have in place today? So we always worry about we have to do what's best for the needs of the customer. But if you don't do what's balanced the other side of the equation, what's best in the needs of the agent, guess what? All your effort is actually going the wrong way because you may have created an ease of effort or an ease of use for the customer, but if you made the agent effort much harder. And for organizations, certain organizations, industries will have attrition rates well over 150 to 200% in their agent pool. And if you look at the exit interviews, not that I go and snoop and look at everybody's exit interviews, but I've been in that arena where people leave, agents will leave, is because they can't do their job effectively. And effectively means I don't have the necessary tools in place to be effective to support the customers. And so to me, if anything that I can do as a leader to provide you the appropriate tools to do a good job, that means then the likelihood of you staying with me as an employee will be longer. And I can use you as a benchmark to say, hey, here's how my top performer agents are leveraging and utilizing the systems that we put in place. So when you look at measuring customer effort, don't forget employee effort. And a lot of times people say, well, never really thought about it that way. But do, because there's two sides of the equation. Your agents got to deliver the experience. They can't deliver the experience unless you're making their experience effortless as well. Okay? All right. So what I would like to do was Agent Brett is going to be on the other line here in a minute, and I'm going to enact a call as being a consumer, and he is going to take the call and walk through what he would do as an agent, and you'll see how Agent Relay or Agent Assist will operate in the environment. So you actually will get to see this in action, okay? And then afterwards, we'll talk about questions, comments, so forth that you may have. So bear with me as I get this set up. Go for it. All right, give me 1 sec. Let me bounce over here, Brett. Not quite yet. Just give me 1 sec. All right, can you see that, folks? All right, so give me a sec here, and let me do. Okay.
Thank you for calling Vegas.com. This is Brett. How may I help you?
Hi, Brett. I haven't been to Vegas for several years, and I'm participating at a trade show for several days and need recommendations.
I can definitely help you with your request. May I have your name, please?
Sure. My name is David Lee.
Okay, great, David. What are you looking for to do while you're in Vegas?
I just signed on a new client for our company, and I want to take the client out for a nice meal. Thanks, Brett. No, my client eats pretty much everything like me. I know they're a big fan of the Food Network, so the chance of eating at a celebrity chef restaurant would go a long way. Also, it'd be great to eat at the MGM.
Yeah, sure. Is there any cuisine that you prefer?
Seafood sounds great.
All right, hold on 1 second and let me see what I have for you. All right, so at the MGM, oh, actually, one of my favorite restaurants is the New Orleans Fish House. How does that sound?
That sounds great.
Would you like me to make a reservation for 2?
Yes, please, for 2 at 7 p.m.
Okay, sounds good. Also, I have a few deal of entertainment at the MGM tonight. Would you be interested in hearing more?
Yes, please.
Hold on 1 second as I'm looking. All right, so there's a few shows that I know you may be interested in, maybe, potentially. One is the Beatles Love Tour, and the other one is President Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton talk show. Would you be interested in one of those?
No, not really, but thanks for offering those suggestions. Maybe I'll call back tomorrow.
Thank you, David, and congratulations again, and enjoy your night.
Thank you. All right, so what you were able to see is the speech analytics doing a couple different things. One, that's actually a live transcript that's going on. So Agent Brett and I are having the conversation. And so as the call is happening, the call is being transcribed. But also as it's being transcribed, as I was asking for suggestions on restaurants, there's information that was popping up to the desktop, and Brett was able to give me those options of where potentially I would want to take my client. In addition, on top of that, he was also trying to what I would call cross-sell or upsell me in other opportunities, right? From a selling environment, she said, well, if I tack on a show, would that something be of interest to you? Which, of course, for him, from a sales environment perspective, would also not only give him a boost on the restaurant, but also credit for the show. And what you're not seeing behind there, so those, for those of you who've been to Vegas, if you ever dealt with Vegas.com, Vegas.com will put on and have these various packages. So if you call and you're looking for information and you want to find out and plan a vacation or wherever the case may be, and if you're there and you want to take a client out or want to have dinner, what's behind there is that a lot of times their reps are incented on putting together or promoting various events. So for example, if I was staying at the MGM, if he or she was going to promote a certain restaurant, they would get extra bonus dollars if they booked a number of reservations at New Orleans Seafood Restaurant. So that's more behind the scenes that you wouldn't see, but the agent would, in addition to that, could also get access to the knowledge base that would pop up and say, all right, Roger's profile says that he's staying, or David's profile is staying at the MGM. By the way, it shows up in the CRM solution that he's a frequent guest at the MGM. By the way, in the knowledge base, there is a promotion that I want you to push to David to let him know that this might be an option for him. Does that make sense? So what we're trying to do is, if you're a sales environment, is there a way to add on some additional line items where it makes sense based on the profile of the consumer? From a support and a service side of the house, it's more of, I gave you the example of the explanation of benefits, but let's just say, I'm calling in and I'm trying to get a credit or refund on my credit card. I called the first time, I speak to an agent, and they say they'll give me a credit, but I haven't seen the credit come on my credit card statement yet, or I'll look online. I call back again within the next couple days, and I still don't see that credit. And so that's a callback, right? And that's impacts first contact resolution, because apparently that first call never really resolved my issue, even though I thought it did as a consumer. So what we're trying to do is if I'm able to use and leverage the information provided to the agent, a lot of those callbacks can be significantly reduced. Why? Because the information is being provided to the agent to ensure that before they end the call, that they have the opportunity to recap the call and that the information is accurate and complete, so one and done. Does that make sense? Okay. Questions, comments? Yes, sir.
So how productized is this and how easy is it to apply to an existing desktop platform for your call center?
So in order for to use Agent Assist, you have to have our speech analytics platform. That's how it works. So our speech analytics platform is agnostic from the standpoint of whatever call recording or whatever solution you use. So we sit in the middle of the call path, and basically we will consume those calls and analyze them. And at the same point in time, this is a live call. So what I mean by live is, so sometimes you'll hear real time or near real time. So if you and I are having a conversation right now, that information that was popping up is happening. So by the end of the call, that call has been transcribed and analysis has been done. So that's another part of it that's important to know. Yes, sir.
Follow on to that.
Sure.
So if you want to launch a capability rather than providing information, so the transcript identifies person said I'm moving, and so you want to pop your address change widget, for example. Is that a configuration item in your system, or is that you hit an API endpoint? How does that work?
That's an API endpoint. So basically, if there are certain words based on your line of business, for example, moving, relocation, and that is an alert that we can set up in the system so that when that is said by either agent or the caller, then relevant information could pop up to the agent's desktop to address, okay, you're moving, sir or ma'am, here's the steps or things that we need or information we needed for you to follow in order to complete the move or relocation.
So you could serve like a hyperlink to that
Correct.
agent
Yes.
instead of information.
Yes. So if you're using either a learning management solution, if you're using SharePoint or whatever that source may be, or intranet, then we can provide that information to the agent, wherever that is in your system. And we want to make sure, right, sometimes for those of you who have knowledge bases, one of the things that I had to deal with when I was managing a support desk was making sure that the information was current and relevant. And a lot of times what people will do is they did a good job of adding to the knowledge base, but never did the weeding out, right? So there was old, outdated information I would have to search and scan, and sometimes our agents will pull up the wrong information because their information was not relevant or current. So we would make sure, though, that when we pop up or we hyperlink, that the information would be the latest and greatest, not the oldest. Question? Any questions? Yes, sir.
I think I noticed the Salesforce Einstein. Okay. Can you talk about how does this work back and forth with that CRM solution? Because I saw him managing almost the entire call on your solution. I didn't see him go over to the CRM solution.
So if you have a CRM solution, whether it be Salesforce, NetSuite, whatever that tool is, so I'm able to see what that person is doing in that system. So if you wanted some information to be connected to that system as the conversation is happening, for example, if you say, hey, all right, so Roger Lee or David Lee is calling, it's going to the CRM system and it will pull up David's profile. So you probably saw that in Salesforce as he pulled that up, and then it showed, likes to stay at the MGM. So whatever relevant information you have in your tool, that would pop up to the agent's desktop as they're having that conversation, as the analytics tool is listening and hearing what's going on. You got it. Any other questions, comments, challenges? How does this look? Like it? Hate it? Hopefully you love it. Go ahead. Fire away.
When you started, you provided that the customers had like 60 plus applications and it provides recommendations. Maybe I missed it, but where was it providing recommendations? Because I heard you ask for something and didn't go look for it. I didn't necessarily see the tool provide that.
So there was a hyperlink. If I can go back to it. So when I asked for recommendations, there was, and when Agent Brett, hey Brett, can you hear me?
Yeah, I was having trouble. My internet's not stable, but I can hear you.
Okay, so could you repeat your question one more time, please?
Sure, so it looked like everything was prompted because you, the customer, asked for something, not the system prompting the agent for, here are some recommendations for the customer.
Did you hear that question, Brett? So it looked like I was prompting the information to be popping up, not that the agent was being prompted to pop up the information. Okay, so hang tight, hang tight.
Okay, sounds good. Also, I have a few deals I've been seeing at events overnight. Would you be interested in hearing that and talking about it?
All right, so what Brett say, on the right side, do you see where the bold word entertainment is? So entertainment, agent, okay, sounds good. I also have a few details of entertainment. Entertainment popped up there for him. He did not have to do anything.
Okay.
So then he would click on the associated URL because he wanted to show me or tell me the options because he didn't know off the top of his head, nor would I expect an agent to know every single thing, right? So what cued it in was he said agent, or excuse me, he said entertainment, and then entertainment popped up under there, and then it showed the associated URL, and then he clicked on the URL to show me the options.
And one other thing too is that, I mean, you can say only pop it up when the agent says it versus the customer says it. So, I mean, we can we separate both sides of the conversation. So you can also restrict and only pop things up when one says something or if they both say something. So it's all configurable.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So can you talk a little bit more about the natural language processing behind this? I think in the example that you're sharing here, it appears to be just, term driven. But yesterday when you guys just showed the virtual assistant,
Grace?
yeah, Grace was doing somewhat more. Is that sharing the same kind of dialogue engine underneath the hood to understand what the customer is really asking?
Anthony?
Sorry, what's the question?
So the gentleman was asking, so what we're doing with yesterday with Grace, is what we're doing with Grace the same that's under the hood for this? I assume the answer is yes.
Yeah, it's all built on top of the same
Natural language understanding model?
language understanding. It's just the model is trying to figure out what to say instead of just trying to help the agent figure out what to say.
Right, so in terms of the solution itself, is what's driving the understanding? I mean, are you using large sets of transcribed audio? Well, obviously you've got the transcription engine there, but in terms of then doing the actual understanding itself. So you've got, to use the explanation of benefits example, people are calling in, they have questions about meal B. And basically you want to be able to prompt the agent with the appropriate terms. What kind of effort is necessary in order to train that engine in order to drive the right interaction?
It's all done by example, right? So, I mean, we have behind the scenes very large unsupervised models for processing, meaning that are trained on hundreds of millions of call center calls. And so it's all built on our language understanding scanner, where you, by example, define, this is an example of someone asking about seafood restaurants in Vegas. When that happens, trigger this. The dialogue system and the agent assist are both built on the same, the same model of semantic understanding in this case.
Right, but are you training it then on a customer specific data set as well as the corpus that you've already got in play?
We can, obviously training in domain will improve accuracy, but it's designed because, call centers generally are already much more specific domains of speech than general conversational speech, that it performs pretty well whole. But that said, yeah, I mean, if you operate in, let's say, healthcare, and we give you our general model, it's better if we let the model train And that's been the case with all our customers. Generally, once we start hitting, 1 million conversations or so, we can start to do a lot of those unsupervised models on just your call center rather than preconditioning it on prior call centers in general. But yeah, it's designed to work pretty dang well out of the box.
Good question. Good question. Any other questions? Comments? All right. Well, thank you very much for your time today. Stop by. We're at booth 100 if you have any questions or want to see more of the solution. Appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day.